Good evening, folks, and sorry for the delay. I had some kind of strange technical problem getting started, but we seem to be good now. So I'm going to start off with the ES tonight. This is my CloudChartist weekly Ichimoku wrap for the week ending September 11th. This is Sunday night, September 13th. So we're looking at the ES here. The ES had a contract change last week. But I'm just gonna, there was about a 10-point difference between the last contract and the current contract, but I'm using the continuous contract, so we'll just go with it. It would be confusing for me to use the old contract when it's time for the new contract, so we're just gonna go with the current contract. So looking at this last week's candle, we see that we traded all the way up and into the cloud, and over the Tenkan-sen, over the Kijun-sen, and then we were rejected and closed underneath the cloud. So technically in Ichimoku terms, the ES is bearish as it's under the cloud. We do have the Chikou, this red line right here, representing price action time shifted 26 periods into the past. The fact that the Chikou bounced off the cloud is bullish. Doesn't make the chart bullish, but it's a bullish occurrence. So it gives us some clues, because whatever the Chikou does back here, current price action is doing up here. So some important levels that we have to look at for the upcoming week is this 1960 level. That's where the flat cloud is. So in order for the main bias of this chart on the weekly time frame to turn from bearish to neutral, we need to get price action back over the cloud. Then we will remain in neutral territory until we get over 2005, thereabouts. That is, if we do that in the next 4 weeks or so. As we go on into time, the cloud becomes thicker and therefore offers support and resistance for a wider area. We do have some resistance inside the cloud. We have the flat Tenkan-sen offering resistance inside the cloud at 1978.63, and we have the Kijun-sen offering resistance at 1982.50. So if we do get back into the cloud and start moving towards those levels, those are some resistance areas we can depend upon, and as we get closer, some magnet areas, because whenever something is flat in Ichimoku, that is a price is attracted towards flats. We notice that if we look at the Chikou here, over here, right in smack dab in the middle of this chart, we see that we have the Kijun-sen, which is flat at, let's see, that's about 1965.50. That is where the Chikou will find resistance. So that's another potential resistance level that's sort of between the other ones that I mentioned. Happens to coincide with support level of this candle. That was, let's see, that was, yeah, 1964.50. So around that 1964 level, 1964.50 level could be important. Also, if we do make it into the cloud. We do have a rising cloud, so that's bullish, but unless we get back over the cloud, you know, things are still bearish in Ichimoku terms on the ES weekly time frame. Let's go to crude. I don't know if you are aware of it, but I did produce a webinar video over the weekend of monthly charts. So if you're watching this video now, you might want to go to my YouTube channel, and if you're interested in even longer time frames than the weekly, you can look at my video on the monthly. It's a little bit long-winded, I apologize for that, but there is some handy Ichimoku info squeezed in there at the same time. So, we see for crude on the weekly time frame, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. This chart is overall bearish in Ichimoku terms. We did last week come up and test slightly over the Tenkan-sen. After the week before, we put a test very much over the Tenkan-sen, but we closed under the Tenkan-sen, and then we closed under the Tenkan-sen once again after testing slightly over it. So this is essentially a Tenkan smackdown. There's good reason to be cautious if you're bullish on crude. In order for things to get slightly more bullish, we need price action to get back over 45.63, which is the level of the Tenkan-sen, or wherever the Tenkan-sen opens up when the new candle opens up. If we look back here to the Chikou, the red line that I mentioned previously, that is underneath the candles, but it could remain under the candles for the current week. Then we notice that we have these bullish candles in an uptrend. Therefore, it would be easier for the Chikou to remain under the candles but continue higher. So if it can't get through this week's candle and remains under it, perhaps having some sideways type action, then it's possible that it could move up next week. So keep that in mind as well. If we do get back over 45.63, then I will be looking for levels in between the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen above, but essentially I would be looking for a potential move towards 50.17 and then resistance there at 50.17. That's if we do get over 45.63, and I mean probably also I would want to see a higher high before I would start getting excited about being long crude. Of course, everyone knows that Goldman Sachs told everyone that crude is going to $20 a barrel, which I'll let you ponder yourself. Let's look at Russell. The Russell is neutral in Ichimoku terms. We closed inside the cloud, so that's neutral. We did find resistance at the top of the cloud and just under the flat Tenkan-sen last week. So if we do trade higher, we will once again find resistance at the top of the cloud, which will be slightly higher and pretty much confluent with the Tenkan-sen at around 1173. So keep an eye on that 1173 level if you're trading TF to the upside. If you're trading TF to the downside, you're going to want to keep an eye on the bottom of the cloud, which is around 1150. As the cloud is rising, it's higher than it was last week. Last week the bottom of the cloud was more around 1143.50. Now it's going to be around 1150. The Chikou here has bounced above the cloud and above the Kijun-sen, so it has really plenty of room to run higher. It can run higher all the way up to approximately 1206. But we would need to get through the Tenkan-sen 1173-ish and the Kijun-sen at 1182-ish. Let's look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ, on the other hand, is bullish. So we've gone through three indexes so far. The ES, or three indexes in crude. The ES was bearish. The TF, the Russell, was neutral, and now NASDAQ is bullish because it's above the cloud. And not only is it above the cloud, it's above the Tenkan-sen. And I'm not really quite sure. Let's see. I'm not sure where the 4297. It's hard to see where the Kijun-sen is in this. But it looks like it's possible that the Kijun-sen, yes, indeed, the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen are confluent here, which means current price action is above the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen. So the only thing that makes this chart not completely fully bullish is the fact that the Chikou, this red line over here, is stuck inside this red candle. If indeed the Chikou can make it out of the candle, like to the upside, then this chart will be fully bullish. Other bullish factors we have concerning this chart is we have a rising cloud. We have a flat cloud for the next, say, maybe next 3 weeks, and then we have a rising cloud. So it's very possible that price action could follow the cloud upwards. And to the downside, if we lose, let's say 41.83 thereabouts, then we can start looking for potential support levels inside the cloud. There's a lot of bottoming tails in this 41.38 area, so that would be a level to watch if we do trade lower. Let's go to the Dow. By the way, I also produced over the weekend a multi-time frame video about crude, where I went over crude on all the various time frames. All right, looking at the YM, we see this chart is back to bearish territory underneath the cloud, underneath the Tenkan-sen, underneath the Kijun-sen. Last week, price action came all the way up and tested the Tenkan-sen, then was rejected pretty much to 50% thereabouts of the entire candle and the entire up move. We do, however, have tweezer bottoms down here at the bottom of this candle, both of these candles, and we do also have a fast time frame uptrend, as we had on this last week's candle. We had a higher high and a higher low from the candle prior to that. Let's look at gold. Gold is bearish on the weekly time frame. We have lost the Tenkan-sen. There's a bit of a bottoming tail down here, but after it bounced off this prior support level around 1097.50. So keep an eye on that 1097.50 if we do trade lower. And there are a lot of bottoming tails under 1092. So there could be support down here in this area. If you want to get bullish gold, you want to see price action get back over the Tenkan-sen. That would be a start, but overall, you know, we're quite bearish on the weekly time frame for gold. If we do get over the Tenkan-sen at 1121.10, we could head towards 1152.20. Let's look at silver. Silver is bearish in Ichimoku terms. Under the cloud, under the Kijun-sen, under the Tenkan-sen. Came up and tested the Tenkan-sen, but was rejected. Putting in these long-legged spinning top type doji type candles, very small bodies, lots of indecision in this market. We do show that there is some buying support under 1450, which has, you know, proven itself over and over again on multiple weeks. But if you want to get actually bullish on silver, you really need to see it get back over 1490 or 1491. If we do get back over 1491, we can see potentially for a move up to 1536, which is also prior support and resistance, and about 50% of the Tenkan-sen to the Kijun-sen, and then the Kijun-sen above that is 1584. And then we have a cloud quite a bit above that, but we'll cross that bridge if we get there. First, we just need to get back over 1490 in order to even begin to think about getting bullish about silver. Let's look at the bonds, the Treasury complex. ZB on the weekly is bullish. It's overall over the cloud, but it's been unable to get. It was unable to hold over the Tenkan-sen last week, despite putting in a hammer pattern. Sorry, a hammer candle. A hammer candle could be a potential reversal candle, so keep that in mind. But we need to get back over the Tenkan-sen first off at 154.27. If we do, we can think about potentially testing the 157 Kijun-sen above. We do have a rising cloud, so that's bullish. But then it does flatten off and go a little bit lower in the future, like going into December. The Chikou over here was unable to get through this red bearish candle and got rejected back lower. So if we do go lower, the Chikou could come down and test the Tenkan-sen and then bounce back up and try to make a move higher. And it will have lots of room. It'll have all the way up to 159.22 if it wants to go higher next week, and then even higher the weeks after that. Let's look at the 10-year. Oh, cute. There's my little channel. I forgot I drew that. So looking at ZN, we see that it has maintained this channel that I drew on. I think I drew that channel on the daily time frame actually, but ZN is neutral inside the cloud. It tested outside the cloud momentarily after testing below the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen, but it did put in a close above the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen, and the Tenkan-sen is bull crossed over the Kijun-sen. So as long as we hold above the Tenkan-sen at 127, 100 or 127.10, then we could expect a potential move upwards to test 127.285. But then if we lose the Tenkan-sen 127.10 or the Kijun-sen 127.075, then we can expect a retest of the bottom of the cloud at about 126.295. And under that, you know, would be a break of the channel and a break of cloud support. The Chikou over here has been bouncing off the Kijun-sen and could continue to bounce off the Kijun-sen and go higher and potentially test the Tenkan-sen, which is around 128, 160. We could eventually get a retest of the top of this channel also. Okay, let's go to the dollar. Pardon me. I don't think I did the dollar in my monthly time frame video. I just remembered. So on the weekly time frame, the dollar closed under the Tenkan-sen just slightly, but overall, you know, just sort of consolidating sideways in a smaller and smaller range, but over the cloud. So overall bullish, except for the fact that it is under the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen, and the Kijun-sen is bear crossed. So bullish but slightly neutral. In order for full bullishness, the Chikou also needs to get back over the candles. Right now it's under the candles and slightly under the Tenkan-sen. So we could see a move lower. If we do get a move lower, there is cloud support at 94.50. I think that's going to do it for the time being on this video. I appreciate you joining me, and good luck trading this week, and I will see you next time. If you are enjoying my videos, please do sign up at Ticker TV to be a follower, or follow my YouTube channel, or sign up for my emailing list if you like. You can find out more information about that and my trading room at CloudChartist.com. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.